you have that great line, but in the battle between physics and platitudes, physics remains undefeated, um, which has kind of become one of your trademark lines here. It's one of the questions I've written down. I was going to ask it later, but what is it that there's this disconnect, it seems to me, fundamentally in between the parties. And the Wall Street Journal had a very good piece about this. It was Gerald Baker, I think, had a piece in the Journal, I think it was a week ago, and talking about how the Republican Party has become the party of the working class. That among white, non-college educated males, they're overwhelmingly voting for Republicans. And that the Democrats and the Republicans, the Democrats have fashioned themselves for years as being the party of the working class, and yet when it comes to energy, that seems to be completely lost. Is that your read? How do you see the political divide on that?
Yeah, so I think Joe Biden has tried to have a foot in both camps. Again, when you're 40 years in D.C., you become skilled at survival
Right.
more than anything else. And he plays footsie with the environmentalists, and he certainly gives them all kinds of candy in the environment, the Inflation Reduction Act and so on. But there's some things in the Inflation Reduction Act also for carbon capture and sequestration at natural gas plants, a piece we wrote about the Rice family's endeavors with this net power,
Right.
embedded carbon capture in a natural gas power plant. And if their technology works, and I hope it does, and I wish the Rice family well, they've got a great track record of creating value for their shareholders. They were kind enough to make the CEO of the new company available for an interview for us, which was great for an alternative media site like ours. That always means a lot. Biden cut deals with Manchin, whatever you think of him. Biden understands that he will not succeed politically with gas at the pump above $5 a gallon and natural gas above 10, and did what he had to do. At the same time, we've been watching the solar situation work out, as we've written about a lot, which is, they're against slave labor, which we all should be. At the same time, they're pro solar installations, and yet we make nothing here because we ceded the entire manufacturing sector to China. And we have all of these solar panels piling up at customs because we're enforcing our anti-slave labor laws at the same time that we're reducing demand for solar via all of the incentives in the Inflation Reduction Act. We wrote a piece many months ago called Solar Zugzwang. Something has to give. Like you can't both be opposed to slave labor, understand that China controls 98% of polysilicon ignition and wafering, and then still expect to stoke significant demand for solar domestically in the U.S. without having a local domestic manufacturing capability.
Right.
And so there's a lot of bipolarity in the Democratic White House, the administration, and that's driven by Biden's visceral understanding of how retail politics works, which has been finely tuned over 40 years. At the same time, with his need to placate the sort of extremists in his progressive environmental base. And that's how you get sort of these mixed signals. Look, if you're an environmentalist, what justification can you ascribe to Biden releasing 1 million barrels a day of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
Right.
Thereby reducing the cost of oil, and by definition, economics 101, increasing demand. The decision to release 1 million barrels a day of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was probably at the margins accountable for more incremental CO2 emissions than any other policy the administration put into place last year.